What is up, everybody? Welcome to the weekly Out of the Park baseball stream here on the OOTP Developments channel. I am not TJ
What is up,
Lauerman,
everybody?
aka
Welcome
That
to
Sports
the
Gamer.
weekly Out of the
I
Park
am
baseball stream here on the
sitting in
OOTP Developments channel.
SnaggleJ, also known as Kris Jardine, and I am joined by fellow Canadian and also happens to be the community manager for franchise hockey, Mr. Adam Burnett. How you doing, pal?
Good. How about yourself?
I got no complaints. You know, little last minute hitch in the guest hosting duties that we had to take care of, but that is out of the way now, and we're gonna delve back to a greater time when everything was well and good in Blue Jays land. So that maybe we can bring a little bit of peace and joy to all those poor troubled Blue Jays fans out there right now.
Absolutely. I know I'm one who definitely needs a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I think at this point, if you're a Blue Jays fan, you're probably not having a good summer 2017, unless it is definitely away from the TV. But so we decided tonight that what we're going to do is we are going to go back to the beginning of the 1994 season, and we are going to try and three-peat with the Toronto Blue Jays. Taking a look here at our owner goals, not surprisingly, top of the list, reach the playoffs this season, considering we're the defending World Series champions. That's probably not a surprising thing to have as an owner goal. Let's take a look and see what we have left over from our 1993 World Series champion roster. As you can see, pretty much the pitching staff is pretty much intact from what we had at the end of 93. You've got the greatest Jerry Curl, in my opinion, in the history of baseball, Juan Guzman. I think that's probably not debatable.
No, I wouldn't debate that.
You've got Todd Stottlemyre, who, is getting a little bit up there at 28 years old, but is coming off several really good seasons in a row. You've got Pat Henkin, who was absolutely phenomenal for the World Series team in 93. You got Al Leiter, and you've got the wily veteran Dave Stewart. We've got a little bit of holes in the bullpen. You can see at this point we have no Tom Henke and no Dwayne Ward. So, it's going to be kind of a committee sort of system. Hopefully one of our guys steps up and really takes the ball and runs with it back in the bullpen. Flipping over and taking a look at what we got, we still have probably the most formidable lineup in the American League, I would say, with Alomar, White, Olerud, Molitor, Carter, Ed Sprague, Dick Schofield, Pat Borders, and they have Mike Huff projected to be our left fielder. We're going to see what happens. Sean Green is 21 at this point. It'll be interesting to see how he progresses as the season goes along. Adam, do you think we have any holes? Is there anything that you could remember from 1994 that was particularly challenging for the Blue Jays?
Well, to me, I mean, for those who don't, maybe aren't longtime Blue Jays fans, and just, you forget how much of a disappointment the season kind of was coming off 2 wins. I mean,
Yeah.
They did lose, like a veteran Jack Morris, or they let him go. But they finished 55-60 in real life. So, I mean, that was a pretty big disappointment, especially going after winning 2. So, I mean, pitching is something we're really going to have to watch out for, and maybe try and strengthen the bullpen with either a kind of setup guy or a really good closer.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the 94 disappointment for the Jays was overshadowed by how well the Expos were doing.
Yes.
I mean, the Expos were like, especially in June and July, it absolutely caught fire in the National League East. And then obviously with the labor situation and things like that, I feel like this season for the Blue Jays kind of got swept under the rug. But I mean, it ended up being a major disappointment. And, obviously we know what happened post strike and, with the kind of the dismantling of the roster and that kind of stuff. So yeah, but I think this kind of goes down as maybe one of the more disappointing seasons in Blue Jays history when you look at the players that they still had.
Well, no. I'm going to stop you there because you know what? There was a lot more disappointing seasons there from about 99 to 2009.
Yeah, but the thing is, I feel like those seasons they didn't really have like you didn't really look at any of those seasons in that era and were like they had a team that should have won the World Series. And
No, that well, you know what? That '98 team probably was again a fantastic team that was probably one of the best teams ever that didn't make the playoffs. '98. That was the
yeah,
year Clem won the Cy Young and probably wasn't even the best pitcher on the team.
yeah. Yeah, no, I do agree that 97, 98 were, I think, the two seasons that Clemens was there. Either it was 97, 98 or 98, 99. And I think
Well,
90,
99, David Wells was there, I believe.
yes. So, and 98 was the season that that Canseco hit all those, it's 40 some home runs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I definitely agree with you there. They had a very good team in those late 90s years, kind of while Halladay was still kind of figuring out what he was going to become.
Well, they had some pretty strong pitching, but had two solid outfielders.
Yeah, exactly. They definitely have had ups and downs throughout their history. So we're here. We're on opening day. We're facing the White Sox. Big Jack McDowell, one of my all-time '90s favorites. Jack McDowell. We're gonna simulate through maybe a week at a time and just kind of see if there's any opportunities that come up. Adam, is there any real life Blue Jays things that are kind of catching your eye right now, or kind of have you maybe gritting your teeth a little bit, other than their on-field performance?
I'm, you know, I remember thinking way back when, because I mean, honestly, this was about the time back-to-back World Series wins. That's the time when myself and my friends were really getting into baseball. I mean, everybody was in Canada. Let's be honest. I
Yep.
mean, there was a lot of excitement. But I remember thinking about this team back then, and thinking this team should have been in much better position than they were. But let's not forget or discount the fact that the Yankees. This is when they just started hitting their stride. I mean, they went on quite a tear in the later '90s, and Baltimore was playing pretty darn well. And they had some famous guy who played there for a few games. He played a few games in a row.
I think he played maybe a handful.
Yeah. What was his name? I can't even remember. It's not even coming to me right now. So,
It was something simple like Tim or Joe.
yeah,
Cal.
Cal, right?
Cal,
Cal,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, it
So
was that Ripken fellow.
yeah. So the AL East has always kind of been a bit of a powerhouse, and it still was quite a bit of a powerhouse.
Yeah, yeah,
And actually, just looking at the notes here, so coming up to the strike. So after July, Toronto went 22-14. So they were kind of hitting their stride just as as the strike happened. So who knows what they would have done with the last 50 games or so.
yeah. And I feel like this was also, if I'm not mistaken, '94 was the first season where they had the 3 divisional and wild card playoff format. So, I mean, there was an additional opportunity for them to get hot late in the season and nab that first ever wild card berth. Yeah, there was a lot of, I remember reporting at the time that the Blue Jays were hitting their stride. Their pitching had gotten a lot better, and people were dreaming of a Montreal-Toronto World Series. And, of course, none of that ever came to fruition in real life. And
Yeah.
because of the labor unrest that captivated so much of the summer. Some people say robbed the Expos. Oh my, we're getting hit with the injury bug quite badly. We've lost Dick Schofield, and now we've lost John Olerud for 6 weeks with a torn labrum. That's going to be a bit of a problem.
That definitely hurts.
That definitely does not aid our quest in any way, shape, or form. Let's see. We're going to see what kind of lineup our assistant coach is going to put together for us. They're going to move Molitor to first base. Luckily, we still have Paul Molitor, who can still play a little bit of first base, so it's going to help ease the pain a little bit of Delgado being hurt. At this point, we're 9-8, so it's still quite early. So all these injuries early in the season, not good. So looking at, when you think about the 2017 Blue Jays, there was a lot of talk at the trade deadline that the Blue Jays were going to unload, that they were going to get rid of Donaldson and Bautista and, the kitchen sink and everyone in between. And most of those guys have stayed. Do you feel like they succeeded at the trade deadline, or do you feel like they failed, or do you feel like maybe it's too early to tell?
You know what? I didn't want to see them get rid of Donaldson. I didn't think they would get rid of Tulowitzki. I was going to be very shocked if they got rid of Batista. And I would have been very, very, very upset if they got rid of Stroman or Asuna. Because, I mean, those are your building blocks for the future.
Yeah.
Do I wish I could have done a little more? Yeah, maybe. I wouldn't mind seeing if they would have got rid of Marco Estrada or even J.A. Happ. But at the same time, that you need some pieces to play anyways. And if you're not going to get the pieces back that are going to immediately play, then it's not really hurting anything to hold on to these guys for a little while.
Yeah.
More importantly, too, even if they do not do any better than what they are right now, then you're still looking at a fairly high draft picks come the MLB draft, and that's kind of important too.
Yeah, and I feel like the Liriano trade for them was a pretty big win. Again, to be able to unload Liriano, who, at this point was essentially a fifth starter for them, who was not pitching very well, to be able to take on some of his salary and to be able to, get a high potential prospect like Teoscar Hernandez back, I feel like was a big deal. And, again, Nori Aoki is a guy that can play the outfield for them. And if they end up loading up a little bit, could be a bench bat for them in the future. But yeah, I feel like
it's still controllable.
Yeah, I feel like whether you can chalk it up as a win or not totally depends on whether or not, like, what they do this offseason. That's really what I think matters. If they keep Donaldson and if they manage to keep Bautista and they look at it and they're like, okay, like, let's go and load up a little bit and see what we can do, then I feel like
I'm not sure they keep Batista.
Yeah.
And, I hate to say that because I do like him, but I mean, at the same time, they're running out of a spot for him.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like, again, the Hernandez acquisition gives them more options in the outfield. They do, at this point, have plenty of outfield options that they can turn to and, try to say, hey, this is a different direction that we want to go in at this time. So, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Jose Bautista either retired or more likely playing elsewhere in 2018, I guess, at this point. The years just keep escaping me. We're here living in this 1994 parallel universe.
But what a great time it was in 1994.
What a time it was to be alive. I mean, and to be a Canadian baseball fan. We've received a trade proposal. Have we now? Interesting. From the White Sox, they want to trade us Ozzie Guillen for Al Leiter.
I don't know about that.
Ozzie Guillen, who is batting .220 on the season with no home runs. I mean, he never hit home runs really, and 15 RBIs. For Al Leiter, who is 4-0 with a .270 ERA in 33 innings.
Yeah, that's
again, we're trying to three-peat. We're not trying to,
Plus, the question is, why would we need another shortstop?
Yeah, that's also a very good point. Um, I don't really feel like the White Sox would have anything that we would be interested in, but
I
I mean, we can explore it. Again, at this point, the White Sox are a very good team as well. The White Sox were really coming into their own at this point. What Frank Thomas was hitting his stride. Actually, Frank Thomas in real life had a absolutely gargantuan 1994 season, and he was
future former Blue Jay Frank Thomas.
future who hit his 500th home run in a Blue Jays uniform. And the White Sox were actually a very, very good team at this point. They had very good pitching. They had current Hall of Famer Tim Raines, Robin Ventura, Lance Johnson, Wilson Alvarez. They were a very popular pick of mine in Sports Talk Baseball on the Sega Genesis. Just a little bit of SnaggleJ history there. Wondering what type of baseball games I played in the mid-'90s.
I'm going back to look at a few stats to remind. Yes, Kirby Puckett. That was one of my favorite baseball players.
Oh yes, Kirby. I was always a big fan of these scrappy players. The guys who just went out and played hard, and Kirby Puckett was the epitome of that. And now we've lost Roberto Alomar now for 4 weeks.
Oh, so maybe that trade proposal was telling us that was coming, huh? It all makes sense now.
Yeah, everything is falling into place now. We've figured it all out. Well, so now we have our two of our middle of the order bats missing. That's not going to bode well for our Blue Jays team. Although we are in the thick of things at 16-12, right up there with the Red Sox and the Yankees. Received a personal message. We're doing okay. We're up there. We're playing well. We're gonna have to weather the storm through these injuries, like most good teams have to in the run of the season. I would say. And just remember, folks, you guys can relive the glory days of the Blue Jays as well by picking up Out of the Park Baseball 18 today from the eCellerate store or on Steam. Make sure you check out OOTPdevelopments.com for all the links that you need. While you're there, make sure you jump in the forums. There is wonderful topics there. There's people who make wonderful mods for this game. Make sure you check that out. Make sure you check out the Twitter and the YouTube and the obviously follow the Twitch channel here. Actually, right after we're done, Adam is going to be. Is Jeff on with you on the hockey stream tonight?
Absolutely.
So Adam and Jeff are going to be streaming some old school 80s Detroit Red Wings.
No. We're playing the 2018 Red Wings.
Oh,
but we're moving back.
2018.
Yeah.
Oh.
But we're going to move back to the 1980 style.
Oh, well. So trying to get the Red Wings playoff streak back intact.
Absolutely.
So they're going to be streaming some franchise hockey manager right after this. And now we have to deal with a Devon White injury. It's only 3 days, so all is well. All is well. We will survive. Perhaps.
Okay. Fun facts about 1994. Well, just as I'm perusing stats and looking for names of interesting players. We have movies. The following baseball movies were released in 1994. Can you name any? This will be a good one.
Baseball movies that were released in 1994?
Yes.
Probably the third Major League, Back to the Minors.
Oh, I'm sorry. That is incorrect.
Incorrect?
Yes.
That was maybe before that time.
It was not.
Oh, it was
actually after.
Okay. Little Big League.
Little Big League is one, yes. The correct answer was Major League 2 was actually released in 94.
Really?
Yes.
I felt like it was earlier than that.
I
But
so did I, but no, it was 94.
interesting. Okay.
Now, one of my personal favorites as I was growing up too, movies, which
Nice.
I believe was one of the first times you ever met or saw this particular player, all right, all right, all right, all right, in the outfield.
Oh yes. Uh so here's the real question though.
Yeah.
Major League 1 or 2, which is better?
You know what? I'm still gonna have to go with Major League One.
Yeah. Yeah, I would concur with that.
Yeah.
I f- like I feel like there is a certain section of the population that feels like Major League 2 was the better movie, but I I don't know how you could take a sequel that was literally the exact same blueprint as the first one and
Yeah.
say it's better than the original what came, before it, but I would have to think Major League 1 would be the better one. I agree. Um I'm looking at our roster. We have some minor issues. Juan Guzman is 1-5. That's not. Hopefully he turns that around. We're 20-20 at this point. On May 19th, so we're getting close to Victoria Day, but we're only 2 games back. So far so good. And again, we have our starting second baseman and our starting first baseman and reigning American League batting champion, both injured long term. So hopefully, when these guys get back, we can. We picked up Rob Deere off of free agency. Rob Deere of the I hit 180 but hit 40 home runs. And he's actually hitting 412 for us with 4 home runs in 9 games. So
Yeah.
shrewd pickups are fill in the gaps in the interim for us. And just as I say that, Al Leiter is going to miss a week with an arm injury.
Yeah. Just before, somebody in the chat had a comment on baseball movies saying PWAC 66 says The Natural is a good movie, which that
Oh
is one of my favorite baseball movies. I mean, how do you? There's nothing to hate about that movie.
no, The Natural is a it's The Natural would be, I would classify that as a classic baseball movie.
Yeah,
I definitely feel like that would qualify as a classic baseball movie. It's just
absolutely.
one of those feel good stories. Just the kind of movie that you could watch over and over again and still enjoy it, as much as you did the first time.
Yeah,
So,
but the other big movie we were talking about was, of course, Angels in the Outfield.
oh yes, good old Christopher Lloyd
Yeah,
and Tony Danza as
absolutely.
as the as the gritty veteran starting pitcher Mel Clark.
Yes, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, future Robin. Good way to say.
Yes, yes, that was a very good movie as well. A little cheesy, a little.
Yeah,
It had a certain Disney effect to it,
absolutely. But
but it
there was a lot
was
of big names in that movie.
yeah, it was
Kind of
it
forget.
was still.
But I said I think that was one of Matthew McConaughey's first movies, if I'm not mistaken.
I feel like you're probably right.
It was the first one that I really remember him from that rattle, 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 rat on the outfield.
Yes,
Now let's see.
Colorado. Oh, 'cause Colorado has offered us another aging, terrible shortstop. This time in the form of Walt Weiss. Future Rockies manager Walt Weiss is currently their 30-year-old shortstop. He's hitting 167, and they want Al Leiter, so that's probably not going to happen. But we'll see what we could possibly steal from them. Because at this point, we have some younger-ish players that we may be able to part with, all in the name of winning the World Series right now.
Like a Sean Green.
Like a Sean Green, who hasn't been that bad for us. He's hitting 242. He has 4 homers in 99 at bats. So he has not been terrible. But I look at Dante Bichette, last year of a $2.4 million contract. He has 13 home runs. Something tells me we're not going to be able to make this work. But, actually, we were giving up too much. Our assistant GM's telling us to pump the brakes a little bit. That Sean Green maybe is better than we think he might be. Interesting. No. Interesting. Feel like we might be able to address the bullpen.
PUOC 66 bringing out Field of Dreams reference. That just...
Field of Dreams is a very good movie, obviously. I mean, it's...
You got to be in the right mood to watch it, though.
Yeah.
At least I do, personally.
I feel like if I was like a high-level movie reviewer, I feel like one of my critiques of it would be it can be a little all over the place at times. It kind of bounces all over from one item to the next, and it can be a little hard to follow. But having said that, it is a fantastic, again, a classic baseball movie.
Yeah. It's again, I like watching it, but it's not a movie I want to watch all the time. If I see it on TV, I don't turn it on because I don't like watching that movie partway through.
Right.
I want to sit down and watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Whereas a movie like Angels in the Outfield, I don't mind flipping on. Or another personal, just stupid fun favorite would be like Rookie of the Year.
Oh, Rookie of the Year. Yeah, again, really cheesy, kind of movie, but it's such a guilty pleasure to watch. You can watch it and you can just kind of laugh and enjoy enjoy it for what it is, which is, just kind of a fantasy take of some kid who junks his arm and ends up in the major leagues. Yeah, but it's a very kind of, silly take. But yeah, again, as a baseball fan, you could kind of sit and watch it and just kind of laugh. And again, if you enjoy it for what it is, then you're not doing yourself any disservice.
Well, that's why you got to take lots of them.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like we're close to making a deal here with Colorado that we're going to be trading our 21-year-old right fielder Sean Green. Just trying to find another piece of the deal that fits, that they'd stop yelling at us. Seems to be their MO at the moment. I'm seeing so many names where I'm like, I remember all of these players like it was yesterday. Get ourselves some. There we go. So we're going to trade Sean Green, all of 21 years old, to the Colorado Rockies for their superstar right fielder Dante Bichette, who is a 30-year-old pending free agent, who has 3.5 stars of overall end potential, but obviously the power is what we're looking for. Their 4.5-star closer, Bruce Ruffin, who is having a pretty good season so far, and everyone's favorite left fielder, Franklin Stubbs, who is just going to be some depth. But hey, there you go. Everyone's going to hate us. Our fans are probably going to abolish coming to the games. No, they're big fans. Their interest increases noticeably with the acquisition of big Dante Bichette in the middle of our already stacked lineup.
Gotta love people hitting home runs.
Let's see. We're inching ever closer to the 2014, 2015, 2016 era Toronto Blue Jays, where everything was just home runs.
Well, I mean, going back talking about now Blue Jays, the two biggest things they're missing from having success is, if they had a second baseman who wasn't hurt all the time, and if they had a solid hitting left fielder, it would make a huge difference on.
A little more security at second base would be nice. Not gonna lie.
Don't get me wrong, I love Devin Travis.
Yes.
He is great, but him just getting hurt just hurts.
Yeah, the health is I would definitely say the health at this point is a major, major, major concern. I would have to be I mean, he spends so much time on the DL. And again, he's such a good player. I mean, he's very good in the field. He's, very good, with the bat. He sprays the ball to all fields. He doesn't strike out a lot. But yeah, it's just if you can't stay on the field, it's, what is the point, really? Dante Bichette paying immediate dividends as in 4 games, he has 4 home runs. So looks like although we've lost all of those games, but still, from a personal perspective, he's doing quite well. John Olerud ready to come off the DL. It's going to make life better for us. Adam, what are your thoughts on the Players Weekend paraphernalia that was announced today? Are you going to run to the MLB shop and immediately drop $199 US to buy a Bringer of Rain jersey?
No. To be perfectly honest, for the most part, I don't even spend money buying full brand new jerseys because they're just so expensive. I mean, I have made the odd exception.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, again, hockey guy. So when the Winnipeg Jets Heritage Classic jerseys came out and they were absolutely awesome and sweet, absolutely, I bought one of those.
Yeah.
And they're kind of gone. I don't think they're coming back. Doesn't sound like it. But I mean, I'm also a Green Bay Packers fan, so
Right.
I haven't actually owned a Green Bay Packers jersey. But when there was some on sale for, $25, of course I'm going to buy it then. But I am not spending $200 American to buy a jersey that says Bringer of Rain, especially at a point. And again, I like Josh Donaldson, but if they end up trading him, I do not want that jersey.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of the same mentality. I have 3 Blue Jays jerseys in my possession right now. I have the regular royal blue Jose Bautista jersey, which I can still wear because he plays for them. I have a Canada Day from 2014. It's the solid all red, kind of similar to the Sunday reds that they wear now.
Not a fan of those either, let's be honest.
I'm a huge fan. I do enjoy the all red. I had to get one. And the reason why I don't mind it is, yes, it's an Encarnacion jersey, but it says Canada where the name is located. So, again, not a big deal. It's not really, dated. I can continue to wear it. And then I have a personalized one with my name and number on the back. And that's kind of it. I've never really had the desire. I mean, I have a few hockey jerseys, and I have a Bills jersey that I don't ever wear because people will make fun of me for being a Bills fan. Which is another conversation for another time. But yeah, these jerseys I think they're funny, and I think they're, a great conversation piece. But I also think at the same time, I don't get it.
Yeah. Whatever. I mean,
yeah.
To each their own. If you want to do it, great. I don't have a problem with that. But I mean, for me, I'm just going, I can spend that money elsewhere and feel much better about it.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I feel like it's a funny kind of a way to liven up, the game a little bit. But from a business perspective, the hats I think are really cool. I will say that some of the hats that I've seen today are fantastic, looking. And as a person who has spent a lot of time in my life, working with and around headwear, I, have a certain soft spot in my heart for that. And I do really like some of these, but again, not something I'm going to go, start filling up the collection with like another 6 hats. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
Not for me. For some people, but not for me. I need to check this trade proposal. We're getting a lot of offers for catchers. This trade is interesting. Our interdivisional rivals, the Yankees, have offered us their 4-star catcher Jim Leyritz in return for right-hander Darren Hall, who's pitching well but has been usurped as our closer by our newly acquired Bruce Ruffin, and 21-year-old Carlos Delgado.
Whoa, no.
Yeah.
No.
Again.
No. Not doing that.
Yeah, I feel like, again, having traded Sean Green, we don't want to absolutely mortgage the future. Again, at this point, Delgado has not, in terms of this one season, he has not played very well for us. We're now that Olerud is back, he's not playing a regular role. But yeah, to mortgage our future for what would be Pat Borders is not playing well. It would be a rather big upgrade, but it would be a big upgrade to our number 8 hitter in a lineup that the lineup at this point is not our problem. Our problem is that we can't pitch. Our pitching staff is absolutely horrible.
Now, we discussed this pre-show, but maybe it's time to go see what it would cost us to get Roger Clemens.
Well, let's go see. Let's go find the Rocket. Seems like a good idea.
On Boston at this point?
He is on Boston. Currently on the season, he's 6-3 with a 3.65 ERA. He has 83 Ks in 93 innings. Available actions.
I'm sorry.
I hope you're laughing at the Jim Leyritz comment.
Yes, I am. I couldn't even say it. I just had to start laughing.
That's right. Don't they know what they're going to do?
45 in the chat says, offering Jim Leyritz, don't they know what he's going to do to the Braves in a few years?
He's going to kill them.
Just crack me up. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Somewhere, that sports gamer is rolling over very angry.
Yes.
And punching his pillow.
So I hate to burst your Roger Clemens bubble, but Roger Clemens is invoking his 10-5 rule rights and is vetoing any trade.
Okay, well, what if we go after one of the Braves then?
Ooh, now you're talking more my speed. Let's see what we have. So obviously at this point, they have pretty much everybody that you could ever want. Maddox is still there, making $6.6 million. Smoltz is there. Steve Avery. I feel like at this point we could go after Steve Avery, who still has some years of team control left, as a kind of way to, because obviously the Braves have Dwayne Ward, and we're upset about that. We feel terrible. Of course, when we hit the Make This Work Now button, we have no player that will make this deal work. That hurts.
What if we offer them our closer?
Bruce Ruffin. You must be joking. I feel like if we if we offered our 4.5-star closer and Carlos Delgado, they're still not interested.
Okay. Then let's go ahead and jump 1 year ahead. Go to Kansas City and get back David Cohn.
Ooh, good call.
Because they should be willing to deal him, I would imagine.
Well, and the thing is, if we take a quick look at the standings, Kansas City is 5 games under 500 at this point. So potentially interested in a deal. Let's go down to Kansas City. David Cone, who signed that big 4-year, $17 million deal. Let's see. And now we're running into budgetary problems. So we need to look at it from a budgetary standpoint. Who do we have that makes way too much money?
What if we send one of the closers?
Well, Bruce Ruffin, who's the closer we acquired from Colorado, makes very little in terms of salary. He only makes $810,000, so that doesn't help us any. If we were going to try to get the salary required, we would have to include relief pitcher Danny Cox, who has been phenomenal for us. In 28 games, he has a 1.55 ERA. So he's arguably been our best reliever so far.
What about one of our starting pitchers we can send back? What if we send back Dave Stewart?
Well, I threw Dave Stewart in there.
Okay.
But now I'm going to see real quick if I can throw... Nope. I feel like... So with the inclusion of... Oh, what did I do there? Oh, yes. Swapped out the wrong player. So with the inclusion of Dave Stewart and Danny Cox, that gets the budgetary restraint down. Now we would have to go look and see if we could acquire a reliever in return to try to make this deal work. Because, again, we're giving up one of our better relievers. So if we offer Bruce Ruffin, Dave Stewart, and Danny Cox for David Cone and reliever Rusty Meacham, who I'm acquiring based on name alone, they would have to think about it. We're to the thinking about it stage.
Well, let's submit it. What's the worst that happens?
The worst that could happen is they're going to say, go fly a kite. And that would be perfectly fine. But again, if you look on the right side of the screen, folks, at our starting rotation, Juan Guzman is 2-8 with a ERA north of 5. Pat Henkin is 2-7 with an ERA of 7.4.
Those are very Henkin-like numbers for later in his career.
Yeah, for later in his career, I agree. We have received a personal message. Scroll up. The trade has been accepted. So we have reacquired 31-year-old David Cone and 26-year-old right-hander Rusty Meacham. Again, fantastic baseball name. For 30-year-old lefty Bruce Ruffin, 37-year-old Dave Stewart, and 34-year-old righty Danny Cox. So seems like we may have hopefully addressed that problem. We have too many players on there. Let's go make sure our pitching staff is adequate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we have one too many batters and one not enough pitchers. So we're going to have to... we'll bring Tony Castillo up off of the reserve roster. And at this point, I think we could be safe in putting Carlos Delgado back on the reserve roster for the moment until our rosters expand later in the year. We're tough love for the young kid.
Sometimes it's gotta happen.
Sometimes that is exactly what you need, is the tough love. What? What's happening here? Why Oh, yes. I need to actually accept the trade, which would be the smart thing to do, as opposed to out here trying to make things work without it.
Absolutely.
Big news update talking about the acquisition of David Cohn. Obviously, the fans are excited, as they were when they acquired David Cohn the first time. And it's actually kind of funny because David Cohn, he was absolutely horrendous for the Blue Jays once they acquired him in 93 or 92.
Who, Cohn?
Yeah, the first time they got him.
93, I think.
And he was really, really bad once they got him. He did not pitch very well. But they won the World Series nonetheless, so I guess, he could be slightly forgiven for maybe not pitching up to David Cohn standards. All right, so we're going to get our pitching staff in order. So Darren Hall is back in as the closer. Rusty Meacham's going to slot in with Mike Timlin in the setup part of the bullpen. And we're going to hope that David Cohn, who has not had a very good season so far, can recapture some of that David Cohn magic. We have fallen well out of it. We're now 10 games back in the American League East, and 7.5 back in the wild card on June 13th. So things are looking way down. But Robbie Alomar is healthy again, so that may be a gigantic boon for us because we need him. Get him back in there to the lineups part. I mean, just look at this lineup. We have Joe Carter batting 6th. That's the type of lineup we have right now. All right, back to our home screen. We're going to see how far we can go here. It's probably get close to the All-Star break, and that's probably going to do it. See Paul Molitor batting .367.
That's pretty good.
That's very, very good. Although it does not lead the league, Edgar Martinez is hitting .397.
That is very impressive. That's about the only thing I can say.
Well, on June 17th, Paul Molitor's .367 is only good enough for 4th in the American League. Oh, no, that's all of baseball, but still only 4th in baseball, and he's hitting .367. That's pretty intense. Tim Salmon is hitting .395 and also leads the majors with 27 home runs. Just a little bit of history watch there. We're starting to lose more ground. That's concerning at best. All-star teams announced. We're getting there. We've received another trade proposal.
Ooh.
From Los Angeles. The Dodgers would like to send us Corey Snyder while retaining 40% of his salary for Carlos Delgado and Brad Cornett. Corey Snyder, all of 31 years old, hitting .269 with 4 homers as a 1-star. That's probably a hard pass.
Well, maybe we should... No.
Maybe that's what this team is missing, is a 1-star outfielder. In an outfield that currently consists of Devon White, Dante Bichette, and Joe Carter, who combined have many, many home runs. Although Devon White is struggling. But I think we'll be fine. Received a personal message. You're going to be fired. Mid-season review. My comments are below. He's not impressed.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. During our time working together, I have been ecstatic with your progress towards the goals I've set out for you. That being said, when I look at the team's history on and off the field, my overall impression doesn't rank quite as highly. And rightfully so. I can't say that I blame them. We have not been very good. We are 34-43. But Blue Jays are a second half team. Quick little sanity check. Let's go take a look at how the Expos are doing. The Expos are 50-29.
Well done.
And they're not in first place in their division, which is foolish. The Braves are 53-27.
Of course they are.
Of course they are. They're the Braves. That pitching just rakes. We look at their pitching. Their starting staff is absolutely ridiculously fantastic. Let's go here. Next week. Where are we at? We're at the 4th of July. Brad Cornett is out for 10 months. Well, sorry, buddy. That's going to put a damper in your future. And not in a positive way. Let's see if we can finish off. Ooh, we've gone on a bit of a tear. Received another message. All-Star Game rosters have been announced. Let's see if we have anybody in there. Nope. Not a single Blue Jay.
Not too surprising.
It is, well, considering the, Paul Molitor is hitting 356. So I am slightly surprised that we didn't get, that he didn't get at least a call. But Frank Thomas and Mark McGuire and Mo Vaughn all made it as first baseman. And Frank Thomas is hitting 360 with 22 home runs. So you can't really complain about that. You got Pedro Martinez and Jeff Facero of the Expos on the other side. The Expos have 5 guys made it from the Expos. And I think that's probably a good place to end it. We've gone on a little bit of a tear. We're all the way back up to 42-43. 7 games back of New York and 4 games behind Boston in the division. So that seems like a good spot to end it, and we'll see someday, maybe not, no promises, we may come back to this. A little birdie told me. So I definitely won't delete it. The 94 Blue Jays three-peat attempt will live on.
Well, at worst, we get some updates over social media, right?
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of social media, make sure you head over to twitter.com/OOTP Baseball and facebook.com/OOTP Baseball. Make sure you follow and like both of those. And as I said earlier, make sure you head over to OOTPdevelopments.com and find all the links where you can pick up your very own copy of Out of the Park Baseball 18, which you have seen showcased here over the last hour. If you are a big fan of hockey, make sure you stick around, as Adam and Jeff will be streaming some Detroit Red Wings present day, future day, I guess, action in Franchise Hockey Manager 3. Adam, thank you very much for being my co-pilot on this guest hosting adventure.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
I told TJ I was going to try to Canadian up the stream as much as possible. So you had 2 Canadians and a Blue Jays themed stream. I don't think you could get much more Canadian than that, eh?
No doubt, eh?
Yeah, that's right. So make sure you guys all stick around for the Franchise Hockey Manager stream. And the Out of the Park Baseball stream will be back at 9 p.m. Eastern next Wednesday with its regular host, who is slightly less good looking than me. Thank you guys all for coming out. Make sure you hit that follow button. And until next time, have a nice night.